Bible in a minute, Genesis 15. Okay, so backtrack in Genesis 13, God tells Abram, look to the north, south, east, and west, and everything you see, I'm going to give this land to your descendants. Now, when we get to Genesis 15, God tells him in verse 1, I'm your protector, and your reward will be very great. Well, Abram objects and asks a question he's probably been wondering. What good is all of this that you're promising me if I don't have a descendant? You promised this land will belong to me and my descendants, and I don't have a descendant. So what's the deal? And God promises, hey, I'm going to give you a child that will come from your own body, and you will have so many descendants you won't even be able to count them. And so Abram believes God. He believes this promise from God, and God credits this as righteousness. Then God restates his promise about the land. I'm going to give you the land. And Abram asks, how am I to know? Like, okay, I was with you for the kid part because I can't see it, but I believe you for it. But I'm looking out at the land, and I see all these people that currently live in the land you're promising me. This is a stretch, and you're going to have to help. How am I to know that I'll possess it? Well, God enters into a covenant with Abraham. This is where the Abrahamic covenant comes into place here in Genesis 15. And then God promises in verse 16, he says, in the fourth generation will your descendants come back here. So you're not going to be in this land, but in the fourth generation you will come back here because this one group of people who live here will be ripe for punishment, one translation gives. So what's important to know? Well, there's a lot, but one thing is God's time scale is different than ours. You know, Abram wants a son. He's been promised a son, and he feels probably like time is slipping away. Time's running out. You know, God sees a race of countless millions of people issuing from Abraham, and Abraham feels like his life is getting close to the end, and there's not much to show for it as far as the descendants. It's not settled. He does not yet have a child. So Abram sees the immediate. God sees the entire course of redemptive history. In this sinful race, what he accepts, crediting it as righteousness, is faith. Faith that acknowledges our dependence upon God and takes God at his word. So take a lesson from Abraham. When God makes a promise, he will keep it. When he says, I'm entering into this, I'm promising you this. If God has promised, you can believe it because God will keep his word. And there's really not much you have to do. Matter of fact, in later chapters, you'll see how Abram and Sarai jump the gun and they try to help God make the promise come to fruition. And it just creates a lot of problems. So read Genesis 15, comment below, let me know what you think.